Hi, welcome back to Plagowski Pins and Collectibles. And today I'm going to go over 3 lots that I got, all of them from Kijiji. One is really cool because it's not pin related at all. It's actually a bunch of belt buckles, which I thought were really neat. Another one is a Disney collection, most of it quite, well, not vintage, but a little bit on the older side. And then the last one is a bunch of pins that I got. So I'm going to share that with you next. But first, gotta put my eyes on so I can see what I'm doing. So this is the first collection that I got off of Kijiji. It came in this cigar box, which I actually think is cool because I actually think there's value to the cigar box, which is amazing. This is a lot of belt buckles. The person I ended up buying this from was selling for $25, which I think is a really good deal. It's a bit of a steal, actually, considering how many are in here. I've never sold belt buckles before. However, these looked too cool to pass up. I went ahead and bought these on a bit of a whim. But, you know, I do have an eBay store, and this would fit into the collectibles part of the Plagowski Pins and Collectibles piece. So here's a Superman belt buckle. Now, it's been worn, so there is a little bit of scratching on the enamel. But you know what? Still a pretty neat specimen. If you look at the edges are still in pretty good condition. Could stand to be cleaned and polished. So you can see in the back here, it's made by GTO Design Studios. Buckle on eBay sells for about $15 new. Used between $4 and $6 or $8 depending. There was one that actually sold for about $4, but the person charged $22 shipping. For the hockey fan, a Montreal Canadiens version. This is pretty cool. There is a little bit of a chip here that some of the enamel's been chipped off because, again, these were all worn by somebody at some point. The edges look pretty good. Everything's intact in the back. I'm pretty happy with this. Now, this recently sold on eBay, probably in a little bit better condition than this one, but nonetheless for $20. All to say that if this sells for $15 or $20, that almost pays for this entire box, just this one belt buckle. So that makes me very happy. Moving on to this one, this is a Volkswagen one. The only thing with this one is that there's some black enamel that's been scratched off. So originally, if you look at this one brand new, there's black enamel inserted in all of these little indentations here, all these little spots, and that has been scratched out or removed. So this is not in great condition. What's sad about this one is that brand new, this one with the black enamel in situ in place would be a $50 item. But in the condition it's in now, I'll be lucky if I get $5 or $10 for it, I think. I might be able to get 15 just because it is a VW, but because of the fact that there's some remnants of enamel left there, I'm not sure. Stewie's one of my favorite characters. I love this guy. He also has some scratching and rubbing on the surface of the enamel from use, so definitely used condition. And we'll flip them around so you can kind of see here, and you can see that actually has the Family Guy trademark back here, which, you know, is really cool because this authenticates that this is a real one. This is not somebody who just made this in some Etsy shop with a soft enamel producer. One that was just unicolor, sort of all metal with sort of a hammered pattern, sold for $20 recently on eBay. Thinking somewhere in that range for this one as well, maybe around $15. Here, which is a bucking bronco. It is really quite neat because it has all this raised sort of detail with the enamel poured in between the flower design, which is really cool. And you've got sort of this gold green paint over the characters. If you turn it around here, you can see that it's from Siskiyou Gifts, 1991. These bucking bronco ones, although there's a lot of scratching on this one, so it's definitely used. These can fetch between $20 to $35 because they are very popular with the cowboy sect. So we'll see. I'll post it and we'll see what we get for this. And for the Ford enthusiast, another one here. This is a little bit scratched up as well, but again, this is a $10 to $15 item, which is pretty neat. This next one's a motorcycle belt buckle. This is a no-name brand. It's not like a Harley Davidson or anything like that, which would excite me a little too much if it was. But it's still a very cool looking piece, and I'm figuring somewhere in the $15 range for this one as well, probably. It has a serial number on it. I'll try to find the serial number and see if there's some name attached to this because I really don't know offhand. I'll have to do some research and find out. I also have Punisher, also is a highly collectible one, but you could see this one's been abused. It's been worn, man. So this one here, I mean, brand new, probably $25, $30, but with the condition that it's in, I'd be like, if I get $10 for this. It's still a really neat piece, especially if you're into Punisher, if you're into the comic book scene. Finally, last but not least, I have Jack Skellington. So as you may or may not know, if you haven't watched any of my other videos, I'm a huge Disney fan. So Jack Skellington's right up there with in my favorites. It has some damage here, scratched inside the eyes and some scuffs, but overall the enamel's in pretty good condition. There's nothing missing. He's a good find. So all told, all of these belt buckles can yield somewhere between $10 and $15. I've got 10 of them in total. So that's $100 to $150 potential sale value of these belt buckles when I paid $25 for them on Kijiji. Again, these people just want to get rid of them, and these belt buckles may or may not sell, so it's a bit of a risk, but I think they will. I mean, worst case scenario, I can always go back and sell them on social media for the same price and get my money back. I actually think I'll be able to get at least $10 each for these, so that means I've at least, not doubled. It's $100, not $25. So I'm really quite happy with this lot. So now we're moving on to another lot that I received through Kijiji. These are a set of, I believe it's 31 pins, something like that. These are actually buttons, a lot of different buttons, and there's a couple of pin backs. I paid about $1.30 a piece, so we'll just kind of flash through them as we go through. So we've got some Toronto Blue Jays. In this particular lot, the quality of these pins is not the greatest, but that's fine. I'm not going to flip out about it. I figure I should be able to get a couple dollars or $3 for most, and there's a few in here that might get $5 or $6, and a few that may even get as much as 10. So really depends on the buyers and who's looking and what their interests are. So here's a few more of these pins from this lot. My favorite on all of these, I love Garfield. I was actually a big fan of Garfield as a 15-year-old back in the 80s. Love Garfield. So he's awesome. And then we've got the Three Stooges, which, a lot of young people wouldn't even know who these guys are. And we've got a couple of beer pins here, which is neat. These actually look like they're homemade, actually. This one in particular looks like it's the actual label underneath. This is probably my favorite here, though, the Archie Club official member. I think I'd probably get something a little bit more than just $1 for this guy. I think he's got a bit more value. Here's some advertising pins. Again, these I think were just given away, so I don't know that they have much value per se, but they're still really cool for anyone who is into the Pepsi collections. There's a Diet Coke one, Chuck E. Cheese. I kind of wish this Apple pin was in better condition because Apple products and Apple pins are actually very collectible. One of the very first pinback pins that I sold was the Apple Gnome that I think I paid $1 for, and I sold it for $15. So very collectible pins these Apple pins are. However, and it wasn't a button, it was an actual pin that I sold, but still, this would have probably been very collectible, but it's in kind of rough shape. So, we'll see. We'll see what I can get for it. Here we've got some flying pins, if you will, a different collection there. We've got the Final Destination Eastern pin. This KLM one is kind of neat. It's actually made of a metal, and it's got pretty neat enamel to it, although the enamel has been chipped a little bit below the airplane, you can see. But I really like this pin. It's quite cool. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it, but maybe they're very common. I don't know, but it's just not something I see. And of course, these are Air Canada and Eastern pins, and these are just made of plastic. But I have seen these online for, $2 to $5. People do collect these things, crazy enough. And of course, we have this lot here, Disney pins, or rather buttons. So all of these are like $3 to $5 pens or buttons, depending again on the buyer. It's Aladdin buttons, pretty common. A lot of people seem to have this one. I have one on the market right now already in my store that's similar to this, and it's not moving yet, so we'll see. I still like it. It's a neat pen. It does have a little bit of, if I just show the light, a little bit of surface scratching, but otherwise it looks pretty good. I actually like this one quite a bit. I love the shine. It's very scratched, but I love the 90 Magical Years Disney pin. And then this one here looks a little bit more vintage. And actually, you can kind of tell it is because it's kind of rough in the back. It looks more vintage. You can tell because the Mickey Mouse, if you do comparison, actually this one's probably a closer comparison. Do the comparison of the Mickey Mouse, and the face is made a little bit different. And Mickey Mouse has changed over the years, so you can see that he's not quite the same in this one. I think he might pitch a bit more. It might have more value than any of the others. Finally, there's this box, which I was super excited about getting when I first got this box. It has this really cool hat which is official Walt Disney World merchandise. And then we have a bunch of goodies, which we're going to go through. I can't really remember right now at the top of my head what I paid for this lot. Let's just go through the box. The first thing that I'm going to take out is this awesome pin. Key Mini Christmas. Turn it around. And it's a licensed pin, but it might just be sufficiently old enough such that I can't tell whether it's officially legit. Although this sandblasting is actually very common with the older pins before they started getting into the waffle patterns. So actually, and I've seen this pin online, so I do believe this is a legitimate pin. Very cool. I love this pin actually. We have this really cool car. It's a Christmas decoration from, I'm assuming it's the year 2000. I have yet to find this online, by the way. I do not have a clue. I'm assuming this little item, and I have to test it with a battery to see if it works. I'm hoping it does. It takes 2 AG3 batteries. It still has the tags on it. Super cute. So I'm hoping the lights turn on and music maybe works. I'm not sure. If it works though, should be able to get maybe $35 or $40 for this thing. He's super cute and probably highly collectible because Pluto and Mickey, especially Pluto, because it's Pluto's 90th birthday this year actually, is extremely collectible this year. I also have in this box a number of keychains. So here's the Disney 50th Disneyland Happiest Homecoming on Earth keychain. We've got a pass holder, ticket holder lanyard. Now, what's really ironic about this is no longer needed at World. We have Magic Bands now that we use at Magic. It's all electronic. But you could use this in California or any of the other international parks because they still use paper passes in most of the parks around the world. So it has a retractable pin holder, a retractable pass holder. Here's another pin that's in the package. The 1 Hour Wonderland. 7 pins to go. So this was a whole collection for the year 2000. I can't remember how many are in this pin set altogether. I want to say there was like 20 of them, but there's quite a few. I've got a collectible pen with Sorcerer Mickey on it, and it celebrates the 25th year of Walt Disney. Now, I remember the 25th year of Walt Disney World, and that's when they decorated the castle as a big cake, which was really funny. Here's another keychain. This one's the 50th. It's new in package. It's actually not a keychain. This is actually meant to go on the bottom of a lanyard for pin trading. So if you have a pin trading lanyard, you would use this as a weight at the bottom to keep the lanyard from just kind of being free flowing. What else have we got? We've got some magnets. Here we've got one here, and then we've got... So we have another magnet here. This is really cool because this is another pin. I'm going to take it out of its bag. So first I'm going to start with this guy. He's not very big, and I won't focus because he's so small, but I love him. He's awesome. He's just like, you know, just a cheap metal pendant. Then I've got this pin. There's Tinkerbell. So you can see she's actually really cute as well. And I checked the back of her and it says Disneyland Resort in the back. And it has a standard sort of pattern at that time before they went to the Mickey Mouse head waffling. So this is a legitimate pin as well. There's also this one here, Mickey 2000, a commemorative pin, obviously commemorating the end of the century and the beginning of a new one. We've got a luggage tag, new in bag. It's actually cool because it's lenticular. You can see the fireworks actually illuminating. In this package, there also was a key wallet holder, missing 2 of the hooks, but that's okay. Somebody might still want this. There's a lot of Winnie the Pooh collectors out there, so we'll see. Another Winnie the Pooh item. This one is a floaty ball with Pooh face and a keychain. This one's in rough shape, so this one was clearly used by the previous owner. So there's a keychain of Mickey Mouse. There's actually quite a few keychains in this one. We have the 100 Years of Magic Disney World. We also have this one, which I'm not sure if it's made of pewter or if it's just metal, but I really like the look of this one. Here we have, it's a lanyard of sorts, I suppose. Disneyland 50th. What do you call this? It's a type of collar tie. Anyway, I can't remember the name of this right now, but love that. That's another item that was in this box. Another Mickey Mouse Club keychain. Happy birthday pins. Got 2 of them in this box, actually, from your Epcot family. These pins, are probably between $3 and $5 that will sell. Got another keychain made of the same metal as the last one. This one's for the 25th anniversary of Walt Disney World. So you can see October 1st, 1971 was when Walt Disney World opened. You've got some really neat characters on here, actually. You've got Lumiere and you've got Aladdin's genie. And so there's some really cool characters on this one. We've got a bracelet with the name Laura on it with the Mickey Mouse ears. It's not real silver or anything. It's just a metal, just a cheap bracelet. But hey, you know, there might be a Laura out there who likes this bracelet and wants it. So I think we're at the bottom. This is the last of it. So this is a vintage Christmas, or sorry, no, balloon style. I saw green and red and I assumed it was Christmas. It looks like this is a legit Disney product, but it looks like it came from maybe a discount store. Byway. Oh my goodness. Byway is an old store. That no longer exists. That's an old Canadian sort of thrift store, kind of Kmarty, Target-y kind of store. Anyway, so this is a Mickey Mouse and Balloons keychain. So there's the lot for that particular box. There's quite a bit in here actually. And everything is, you know, a $5, $6. The Christmas pin under here somewhere, that's a $10 to $15 pin. So, you know, I started adding all this up and I've got, you know, I've got some profit in here if everything does sell. So since it's October, I figured I'd put my ears on. As you can see, I've got quite a few in there and my collection just keeps growing. This is a pretty long video, but I wanted to share these lots with you because I wanted to bring home the fact that if you are or want to be in the resale business, it is entirely possible. There is a buyer for everything. I'll give an example. I had listed a button. It was an advertising button for a glass promo. You know how McDonald's would have a different glass every week of, let's say, a different character of whatever series they were doing. This one happened to be a Walt Disney World one. It had Snow White, Prince Charming, different characters like that on the pin. And it said in French, "Un verre chaque semaine." I didn't anticipate that pin selling. And it was actually one of the first things that went. And I sold that pin, I think for $6 and I paid $1 for it. I know it's only $5. And then you take away the eBay fees, you know, I've maybe cleared $4 off that pin. But at the end of the day, you know, do that 1,000 times and that's $4,000. So it is entirely possible to do this, but you do have to be open-minded to the fact that you might have to be looking at free lots of stuff. So for example, tomorrow I'm going to pick up a free lot of matchbooks. You say matchbooks. Does that have any value? It depends. If it's a free lot and I don't like any of them and I don't think I can sell any of them, guess what? I have a whole bunch of matches I can use for when the electricity goes out or when we go camping. But if if there's anything that has any advertising or anything like that, matchbooks can go from $2 to $10 depending on what's on them in the cover and if they're complete inside. So I'm going to take a look and see. I mean, it's free. I mean, you have to take a look at the opportunities, but you also have to understand sometimes you're going to get a pin like this that looks okay, but it has issues, right? It has damage, it has issues. And, you know, when you pay $2 for something that you know you're not going to be able to turn around and get much money for, and it already has quality issues, that's when you start to have issues with kind of making any kind of money. I guess my warning to you is that, you know, the resale business is a bit of a risk because you just never know whether things are going to sell. And you can invest a whole bunch of money in something and find that it doesn't sell. I did this with books. I've done it with a number of other things. But I find so far these little things, these little pins and these little collectibles, they tend to sell pretty well. I've sold dozens now, dozens and dozens of different pins. And it's going fairly well. So wanted to share this information with you again. If you like anything you see on my videos, remember that I do have an eBay store. The link is down below. You can go down and see if those items are still available. Remember also that I combine shipping to try to make it more efficient for you. So do contact me and let me know that that is something that you want to do. Otherwise, you know, feel free to subscribe because I'll be doing this on a regular basis and sharing with you the lots of things that I find and kind of give you a sense of what I paid for them and what I anticipate maybe getting for them. And if I can update you along the way, let you know how things sold, I will do that so that you can get a real sense of how things are going with this kind of business or with this kind of resale. Now remember, this is not a full-time job for me. This is just a side gig. This is just fun for me. This is fun money. This is a fun way to kind of get a little extra cash in my hands. So it's just for fun. Anyway, thanks again for watching and we'll see you next time.